Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Scott Elliott. I'm the pastor at this wonderful church, First Congregational United Church of Christ in Mount Vernon, Ohio. And I thought I'd talk this week about a question on a lot of people's mind. Why suffering and bad things like the coronavirus exist if God is good? Some religious folks suggest everything, including things like the virus and accompanying suffering, happen because God intends it to. A famous televangelist has already blamed same-sex marriage for the coronavirus. He imagines a God who sets loose the pandemic to make sure the entire world suffers and tens of thousands of people, including men, women, and children, die because some people in love are allowed to get married. I'm an atheist to that sort of God. The unhealthy theology of a God who lashes out at humanity for anything defies the common sense God gave us, and it denies the reality of the laws of nature that God also gave us and the science that God gave us. The laws of nature are not subjective in application. Hurricanes, tsunamis, tornadoes, cancers, and yes, diseases and all other natural disasters happen without some sort of punitive intent by God. It's nature. And humans can, of course, add to natural problems by getting in the way or not getting out of the way or by exacerbating them with physical actions or inactions, but not by unrelated violations of someone's pet morality issue, and certainly not for couples in love getting married. There are bad things happening in the world, but same-sex marriage is not one of them. That's a good thing. Love is always good. But there are really bad things that happen. Violence, murder, war, slavery, racism, sexism, heterosexism, anti-Semitism, poverty, starvation, greed, fraud, theft. The list goes on and on and on. And if God was really punishing and rewarding behavior, then bad things would only happen to people that do bad things. And good things would only happen to people who do good things. But we know that's not how life unfolds. And even after setting aside natural laws and understanding that God would punish humanity with death and disease like the coronavirus, counterdicts biblical teachings and our experience that God is love and she loves us unconditionally forever. Unconditional, enduring love would not intentionally hurt the object of love. Indeed, love would do all it could to rescue the objects of love from peril and certainly not cause or plan peril or suffering. And we know this is true because even our own mortal love would use every power we had at our disposal to avoid suffering and to stop suffering of those we love. We'd stop, if we could, things like accidents, diseases, tsunamis, terrorist attacks, Holocaust wars, and pandemics from happening to anyone if we could. As small, flawed, loving humans would stop such things, certainly, an all-powerful, all-loving God would. A central problem in most of our thinking about God is we imagine God as all-powerful in a supernatural sense. We imagine God has every power that we can think of. But just because we imagine it doesn't make it true. While we experience God as good and loving, we don't experience God as using supernatural powers to magically halt negative events. Logically, this means God can't or isn't using supernatural powers to instantly stop bad events. God is not acting all-powerful in that way in our day-to-day lives. We do, though, experience that good and bad events occur in life and that they have two general causes. The laws of nature bring them about or human choice causes them. Natural laws cause good and bad things as a matter of course without intent. They can have negative or positive effects. God set the world up with laws, ways of nature that occur without intent to hurt anyone, anything, including humans. Things like viruses, they evolve and they emerge and they tragically cause illness and death, but not punitively. Humans pretty much can't stop the laws of nature as a rule. God also does not set them, not in an instantaneous sense. What God does do is call us all to our best, calls us all to care and desire the well-being of self and others and all of creation. See, what we have is a choice. No other species seems to have this. We can choose to do our best or not in any given situation. The Garden of Eden stories refer to it as humans obtaining the knowledge of good and evil. With that knowledge comes the option of doing good or doing evil. And while we may not stop the laws of nature, we can react to them or even use them by making good or bad choices. The Creator may have caused natural laws to be in place, and God may have given us knowledge of good and evil and the ability to choose one or the other, but God lets them run their course, except that God has created a will in human, a desire in humans to innately want to be the best that we can be. It's a power our Creator uses on earth, and it's pretty hard to deny that the will for betterment exists. Empirically, we almost all experience it. If we listen, there's this continuing beckoning in every single moment to make the best of it, and to make the best of our being alone, but also together. So here's the thing, when bad things happen, it's not the devil playing with us. It's not God getting us for some infraction, known or unknown. What it is one of two things, a natural event or a human choice, or the two. Religions are about how to make the right choices. And the right choice in Christianity and all that Jesus taught, we hear almost every week in our church. It is to work toward the well-being of others and creation, right? Care and desire for the well-being of others is the theological definition of love. And love is also defined as a primary characteristic of God's nature. Working toward the well-being of others is love in action. It's God in action through us. Love is the right choice in the bad events in life, whether natural or human-made. It's the action prompted and propelled by the power we know God has, the forever beckoning us to goodness. To choose love is to provide God's power in the world, positively affecting life. We can even bring about positive effects from negative events by our choices. We can affect well-being. And over time, we can work to stop or lessen negative events like accidents, diseases, tsunamis, terrorist attacks, holocausts, wars, and yes, pandemics, which we are doing, some of us actively as healthcare workers and scientists and leaders and essential workers. Many of us are doing it as actively social distancing, staying at home, wearing masks, washing our hands. These good choices by humans show our care and our desire for the well-being of others. These good choices are love. They're God in action through our hands and our feet and our voices. You see, remarkably, God has empowered us to mitigate or even stop negative events, natural or human-made. The good news is that through our love, God is working miracles during this pandemic, and it can and it is happening through us. So please keep at it. Don't stop. I'm up here in our beautiful sanctuary, standing below the cross, just to give you a view of it. I know many of us are missing it. Some of you have never seen it before. This is a wonderful spiritual place. Thank you for joining me on a God vlog. Please go in peace, knowing that your love and you and what you do matter. It matters much.